Hi, I want to welcome everybody to the Resident and Family Support Council meeting. Again, I apologize for being so dark on the screen, trying to work on that issue so that you can see my smiling face, because I want to smile at all of you guys, because we're really excited about all the information that we get to share during these meetings. As a reminder, our meetings are actually brought to us in part by sponsorship from the Illinois Pioneer Coalition. And that's why you see that underneath my name, because they have actually given us their Zoom site to be able to host these meetings, which is wonderful. All of these meetings are recorded and we put them on YouTube. So if you're interested in seeing any past meetings, or if you were not able to make this meeting and you have a friend that wasn't able to make this meeting and you want them to see and hear it, you can tell them to go to our YouTube channel. It's IL for Illinois, LTC Ombudsman Program. If you just put that into YouTube, it should be able to come right up. And if anybody's looking for that, I'm sure we will have Stephen, our man behind the scenes, who always works all the linkages and everything. I'm sure he'll be putting that up into the chat for you as well, so that you can access the YouTube page for all of the past meetings. I do want to encourage you to do that. We have over almost close to 60 now, 60 topics on the YouTube channel, and there's really great feedback for these meetings. So please do visit them, because there's a lot of wonderful information on there. If you have a question, please either raise your hand, unmute yourself, if you would like to ask it personally, and then also know at the end of the call when we stop recording, if you would like to ask your question, then you're more than welcome. Any of the information that gets shared with us today, I will share through our website, the Illinois Ombudsman website page as well, so that you can access that information. So today, our topic is about Alzheimer's resources. This is a really, really difficult path to go down. We understand that long-term care in itself can be difficult, but then your loved one has a dementia-related diagnosis on top of it, and it can really make it difficult to understand exactly what's going on, where can I go to for support. And so that's why we invited Olivia today to join us for our meeting. Olivia, do you just want to share first a little bit about who you are and where you're from and all of that fun stuff?
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Olivia Matongo. I'm the Vice President of Programs for the Alzheimer's Association Illinois chapter. We have two offices, one right downtown Chicago on Michigan and Wacker, and then we also have a location in Lisle. My team and I are across the entire state of Illinois, and we're really charged with reaching as many people as possible in the community and equipping them with all of the support, resources, and information that they need as they're navigating this very difficult and complex disease. So that's the work that myself and my team and I do. It's really rewarding. We enjoy being there for community and just being a shoulder to lean on for those that need it.
That's wonderful to hear, Olivia, because we do know, I know just from working in this career path for so long, that this can really be very scary personally when somebody gets this diagnosis. And now what do I do? How do I prepare for my future? And for the loved one who's also trying to grapple with what is this going to look like? How can I support? How can I make sure that my loved one gets the best quality to their lives as possible? And what do I need to do to make sure that that happens as the loved one and many times the caregiver? Did you have slides that you wanted to share with us, or are you?
I do. I have a few slides if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So,
And I may just be interjecting with some questions that come up along the way. So know that as well, just so that you're aware.
okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yep, I can see it. Perfect.
Okay. Just move this so I can. Okay, so, as I mentioned, I'm Olivia. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association. I'm really honored to have this opportunity today to talk to you about all of the exciting work that's happening at the association and all of the resources that we provide to those in need that are all free. So hopefully, if you know anybody in the community that is experiencing memory decline or is going through it or has a family member, that you're able to connect them with us so that we're able to help them throughout this, through their disease process. I always want to start to share our facts and figures report, which illustrates the extent and impact of Alzheimer's and dementia in the US. It estimates that there are 6.7 million Americans age 65 and older who are living with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. In Illinois, there are 230,000 people age 65 and older who are living with this disease. We know that age is a big risk factor. By 2050, it is projected that there'll be nearly 13 million people living with this disease. These numbers impact both the individual as well as their family, friends, and their caregivers. There are 11 million Americans currently who are providing unpaid care to those that are living with the disease. Right here in Illinois, it's 312,000 family caregivers that are bearing the burden of this disease. These caregivers across the US provide 18 billion hours of care. And this was what was recorded in 2022. The amount of time that is dedicated to caregivers in Illinois to those that are living with this disease is 481 million hours. That's a lot. While the vast majority of help is provided by family members, friends, or just other unpaid caregivers, it's also provided by direct service workers. It is estimated that 1.2 million additional direct care workers will be needed between 2020 and 2030. And we also know that with this demand, areas of healthcare will need to change to make these accommodations. How individuals are approaching their care is also set to change. In order to receive better care, it is really essential for patients to have conversations about memory concerns with their healthcare providers, their primary care physicians, as early as possible. Today, 4 in 10 Americans would talk to their doctor right away when they're experiencing early memory or cognitive loss, which is great. However, 7 in 10 would want to know early if they have Alzheimer's disease, if it could allow for an earlier treatment.
If I could just interject, Olivia, one of the things that I've heard in the past is that many times families sometimes don't recognize that they still are a care partner when their loved one moves into a long-term care community, because they feel like they've given up the caregiving to the long-term care community, but they're still there. They're still that care partner, that caregiver, that individual that is still helping that person have that good quality of their life. So I want to make sure that everybody realizes on this call today that, you just, if your loved one lives in a nursing home, that doesn't mean that you still are not part of those numbers. You are those people who love the individual, who are there to support the individual, who's helping to make sure that they have that good quality of their lives. So I think that those figures and those facts are so important to recognize the need for the support of all of the people that are on this call today.
Yeah, I fully agree. I know many families who have their family member in a nursing home or, a skilled nursing facility, but they're there every day. As soon as the day begins, they're there to be with them as they're waking up and as they're going through their day. Absolutely. Just because they're in a facility does not take away the fact that you're a caregiver. So yes, it's really important, the work that they're doing and providing to those that are going through the disease. It's great. I'm glad you made that point.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
as you have heard from me, the numbers are really staggering. More than 6 million Americans are living with this disease, and over 11 million are providing unpaid care to those who are living with this disease. Alzheimer's is also an extremely expensive disease. Left unchecked, it will destroy our finances, our family, and quite frankly, our future. Fortunately, the Alzheimer's Association is leading the way to end Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia with the help of people like you on the call today who have joined in our fight with us. I always want to talk through definitions because the most common question we get asked all the time is, well, what is the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia? Dementia is an umbrella term that is used to describe a range of symptoms. Symptoms include, for instance, changes in memory. This is anything from difficulty remembering newly learned information or forgetting material that you have just read. Changes in thinking, challenges in planning or solving problems, difficulty in concentrating, changes in behavior. This could result in changes in mood, apathy, personality, sometimes also resulting in somebody behaving inappropriately socially. In order for a diagnosis of dementia to be made, symptoms must be severe enough to interfere with daily life. There are many causes or types of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, which is the most prevalent. There's also vascular dementia. There's frontotemporal dementia. There's also mixed dementia, which is quite prevalent. Each type of dementia has its own unique set of symptoms, progression, and underlying brain changes. Gender and racial differences in Alzheimer's prevalence. We continue to identify gender and racial differences in regard to risk. Almost 2/3 of Americans with Alzheimer's disease are women. Older Blacks/African Americans are twice as likely to have dementia versus non-white Hispanics. Older Blacks are twice as likely to have Alzheimer's disease or other dementias versus older whites. Older Hispanic and Latinos are 1.5 times likely to have Alzheimer's disease versus older whites. We know that 46% of Asian Americans are concerned about developing Alzheimer's or another form of dementia, and 56% believe memory loss is a normal part of aging. We also know that the number of Native Americans living with dementia is projected to increase by 4 times, and as many as in 1 in 3 will develop Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. We know that we need more population-based studies to really understand what prevalence looks like from all the different ethnic populations. Let's take a few moments to discuss the services and resources that are available in the community. A diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another form of dementia motivates many people in the early stage of the disease. I'm sorry, it keeps clicking through. Motivates many people in the early stages of the disease to find ways to live a healthy life. I don't know why it keeps advancing.
Yeah, it does that with me sometimes too. I think I move my arrow off the screen that I'm presenting on, and then it seems to not do that for me.
Okay.
So I don't know if that will work. Yeah.
Let's see if this works.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's not.
Mm-hmm. Well, while you're doing that, if I just have a question for you, that came to my mind when you were talking about the types of dementia. Is it important for people to understand the type of dementia that they have, to know that, to find out what type of dementia that may be? Does that change the treatment, anything along those lines?
I believe finding out the type of dementia that you have is helpful because, each dementia has its own set of symptoms. So it helps you understand what to expect as the disease continues to progress, and also the types of resources that might be available for your particular type of dementia. So it is absolutely helpful to have a better understanding of the type of dementia that you have, so that as you're planning for your care, you're able to ensure that you are equipping yourself with information, support, and resources for your particular dementia. So I think what's happening is my slides are, they
Saving
have a
time.
timer on them, but I think I've taken it off. And I
Okay.
appreciate everybody's patience. Let's
Yep.
try that again and see if this works. Okay.
Okay. You see it.
Okay, I think it's working now. Thank you so much, everyone. So, this slide is really for those that are in the early stages of the disease. Typically, when people find out that they have Alzheimer's, they absolutely want to make sure that they are equipping themselves with enough information and resources to really understand this disease and to live a healthy life as the disease begins to progress. And they also want to identify steps that they can take on to maintain balance, to help control their health and enhance their overall sense of well-being. So going to alz.org/I have Alzheimer's provides them with information on education about the disease, how to get diagnosed, how to share their diagnosis. This is something that is difficult for many people. Learning about the changes in relationships that are to come as the disease progresses in them. And if they live alone, what does that look like and what support and resources are available for them? They can also check out alz.org Live Well, which helps to navigate how they can continue to stay connected as the disease progresses, creating healthy habits, being able to express themselves, finding purpose despite this diagnosis, and just ensuring that they're nourishing their soul as they are living with this new diagnosis.
And Olivia, what you're saying is so important because I think there's a little bit of trepidation about coming forward and letting people know that this is something that you're experiencing or your loved one is experiencing. And there is, one of the things that always gets me is, when somebody has cancer in the community, we all come together to support that individual and their loved ones. And what can we do to help? How can we support? What can we do? Because we know that it's a difficult time in individuals' lives and they need that from all of us. But when somebody has Alzheimer's or a dementia-related diagnosis, because we're not talking about it, we don't allow that opportunity to happen for our community at large to come together to support. So I want to encourage people that if you're going through that information, I think that you just shared could be so important to know, how do I navigate this? How do I talk about it? How do I let people know so that they can be there as a support network for me? And it's not a shameful thing. It should be something that this is what I have. I'm going to be living with this and I want to live a good life. So I want to be able to have that support from those that care about me. So thank you for that.
I think there is a lot of stigma in the community, but I think it's getting better. There's so much positive messaging that's happening now. In spite of me working for the Alzheimer's Association, I feel everywhere I'm looking and turning, there's information about brain health, about ways to preserve your cognitive function, about how we're just living older as a population. And what does that look like? What are the things that you need to be considering? So I think that it's getting better. It's a slow road, but I think it is getting better. And people should absolutely not fear coming out and sharing their diagnosis. I feel like people always want to help. People always want to lend a hand when you are open about where you are and what's happening in your life. So please feel free, or if you know somebody in the community that might be going through this. So these are our online tools and support. The Alzheimer's Association, we partnered with AARP to develop what we call a community resource finder. This is a database of dementia and age-related resources. This online tool makes it easy for individuals and families who are facing health issues, including Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, to find programs and services. In addition to the robust offerings of the Alzheimer's Association AARP, users can easily access a wide range of resources such as housing, home care, legal services, and so much more. We have ALS Connected, which is a free online community designed for people living with dementia and for those who care for them. Members can post questions about dementia-related issues, offer support, create public and private discussion groups around specific topics. ALS Navigator is an interactive online tool for individuals living with dementia, their caregivers, and even people who are just starting to notice memory changes within themselves. It provides resources on a variety of topics, from understanding the disease to finding local programs and services, and helps individuals create a custom action plan to print or share digitally with friends, families, neighbors, people that are in their lives who care about them. The Alzheimer's Association Trial Match is a free, easy-to-use clinical studies matching services that connects people who are living with dementia, caregivers, and just healthy volunteers with groundbreaking research. Right now, we are in an era of treatment at the Alzheimer's Association. I don't know if most of you know this on the call, but we are now seeing that they are drugs that are coming out, therapies that are able to help those in the early stages. And we're able to come out with these wonderful groundbreaking drugs because of people that are participating in clinical trials that are helping to inform this. So we're always looking for people to participate in clinical trials to continue to help us to understand this disease, but also to help us understand what it looks like for different ethnic groups. It's really important because it helps us at the association cater our resources and services to those different groups. Alzheimer's and dementia do not come with an instruction manual, but they are resources that are available from the association that can help. We also have great education programs, and I know I mentioned that in the previous slide. For any of you on the call or anyone that you might know in the community that might be interested, we have a variety of education programs, anything from the 10 warning signs, really understanding those. So if you're seeing them within yourself or in a neighbor, you're able to take action. Or healthy living for your brain and body. What activities can you adopt or take on right now in your life that can kind of help you reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's and dementia? We also have programs that are really focused for the caregiver to help them understand what this process looks like. So understanding Alzheimer's and dementia, understanding Alzheimer's and other dementia-related behaviors. So many programs that are available that provide guidance and really help people with next steps and tools that they need to take on as they're managing this disease.
Olivia, we had a question in the chat. Someone asked you have to have dementia to be part of the clinical trials.
So we have a variety of clinical trials, not just at the association, but even at a hospital such as Rush or Northwestern. When you go to that website, so in our case, the Clinical Trial Match website, you're able to see what is available, and it will let you know what the criteria is. So for the studies that are looking for people that have dementia, you can sign up for those. Or studies where you're in the early stages, you can sign up for those. Or if you're just experiencing any kind of memory loss, mild memory loss, you can sign up for those. Or if you have a family history. So when you go to the website, it does show you what's available, what the criteria is, and you are then able to apply for the one that makes sense based on where you are in your journey.
Thank you.
So, just some more resources. Our website is always, always a wonderful resource. You can go on there. You can learn about the association, our resources, the things that we do in community. You can also find programs and other services. We have our 24-hour helpline. It is staffed by master level clinicians. Every time you call, there's somebody on the other end that is able to talk to you and answer any questions that you may have. It could be anything from, I think I might have it, or I have a family member that I think might be experiencing memory loss. What do I do? Or I'm looking for education programs within my zip code. Can you provide any information on that? Or I'm looking for a support group, or I'm looking for a neurologist. Anything related to Alzheimer's and dementia that you have questions about, that you're seeking information about, our 24/7 helpline is there for you. Somebody will always answer. Someone will always answer. And it's also available in 200 languages. So you don't have to just speak English. If you speak Spanish or Russian, you can absolutely access our master level clinicians, and they will provide the guidance that you need in the language that you need. So please make sure, if you have any questions, you can absolutely go to our website, and you can also you can also call in on our helpline, and somebody will be on the other end to help you.
Will they give advice? Will the 24-hour hotline help? Like if I had my loved one who maybe I'm having difficulty giving them a bath or a shower, and I'm looking for some ideas or suggestions around
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. They give advice on all those things. I do want to emphasize that they are master level clinicians. So this is the work that they do. They're certified to do this work, and they are certified to provide guidance. So please, anything that comes up, they can absolutely take on. You are in really safe hands
That
with.
seems like an amazing resource, because so many times, you hear those types of things. My loved one, I can't sleep at night because I'm afraid they're going to leave the house in the middle of the night, and then I'm not going to know where they are. And just looking for those advice, that suggestions, what are some things that I can do, some best practice ideas. That's wonderful that that is something that you guys offer. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And, I've kind of mentioned it already. We have support groups. Our caregiver support groups are really designed to provide emotional, educational, and social support to caregivers through regularly scheduled meetings in your community, in your zip codes. They are available. They really help participants to develop coping methods and encourage caregivers to maintain personal, physical, and emotional health, because we know when you're a caregiver, it's a lot of work. So you do care for your loved one. You want to ensure that you're providing the best care for them. That's great. But you also want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You need to, in order to take care of them. Currently at the association, we have over 4,500 support groups, and they're all connecting people that are dealing with this disease across the globe. It's really, it's a fantastic. And when you go to our website, you're able to see all of the support groups that are available in your area. So please, please make sure you take advantage of this resource. We
Yeah,
have.
because I don't know how many times I have heard somebody, the both parents, the mother might have a dementia-related diagnosis and the father doesn't. And the father's running ragged trying to care for the mother. And then his health declines. He winds up in a long-term care community. They're trying to keep mom at home, and their whole world start to fall apart. And I mean, I even have friends who just experienced this, and the father, got extremely sick and died because he wasn't caring for himself. He was caring for his wife. And I hear these stories so many times. So that caregiver connection, I think, just being able to have it, that's such a great resource, and I want to encourage people to take advantage of that. Thank you.
It really is a great resource. I think what it is guilt. When you have a family member that is going through this, you want to be there for them. You want to be the one to help them through this. And absolutely, you can be and you will, but you also have to take care of yourself. We also encourage, if you're able to bring somebody into the home that can help with that, please do. Anything to ensure that the entire household is staying as healthy as possible as you are going through this process. So please do connect yourself with support groups. They are really just a fantastic resource. The people that you're interacting with are going through the same thing, so you're able to lean on each other and share ideas and things like that. I did want to touch on the fact that we have care consultants. That helpline that I mentioned, the master level clinicians, you're also able to get connected with a care consultant. These are individuals, again, they're master level, that are able to help you with specific planning. If you have questions around care planning or communication techniques or dealing with behaviors or understanding the disease more, or trying to understand how long-term care planning works, or wandering prevention, as you mentioned, these master level clinicians will help you with that. You're able to have a meeting with them, whether it's you, whether it's your entire family, and you're able to tackle on topics that are really important to you, and they're able to help you with those. So all you really need to do is call a helpline, and you can get connected to a care consultant, and they're able to guide you around these specific topics. It's difficult, but they help you with coming up with a plan that all family members are vested in for the sake of the family member that's dealing with this disease. So I really wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. It's a great resource.
And someone mentioned that they've been trying to get an appointment with Rush or Northwestern for their
Okay.
mother. And I know you're not affiliated with Rush and Northwestern, you're the Alzheimer's Association.
Yeah.
Are there any other resources? They said it's been impossible to get an appointment. Are there any other, is that something that you guys could help with, is connecting to entities that could help people? Because I know Northwestern and Rush are very research oriented, and they had some amazing programs and support networks as well for people that have dementia. And so are there any other places that you could maybe potentially point people to, because they can be a little difficult to get in touch with Russian Northwestern?
Absolutely. I would say that the top places where you can get connected, Rush, as you mentioned, Northwestern, and now University of Chicago is in the process of creating an Alzheimer's well, how can I describe it? A unit similar to what they have at Rush and Northwestern, where they really will be focusing on a number of things, from, I think, super agers to people that are living with the disease, clinical trials and things like that. I have a few colleagues that are part of that work that is happening now. So, I think now is a good time to get connected with University of Chicago, because they're in the process of taking on new patients and clients. So I would certainly reach out to those. And then, of course, when you call a helpline, they are able to connect you as well with other organizations that might be of assistance to you. So, calling our helpline is always a great first step, and
Right.
they'll equip you with the information that you need to be able to go on to your next step. So that's a great question. Yeah. I also wanted to mention that we have, for anyone that is interested in really getting educated, we have digital brochures and publications on our website. I have hyperlinked the website on the screen there for you. You're able to learn more about the disease through different publications, through peer review papers. It's a great resource. Please go on there and really educate yourself if that's something that you're interested in doing. And then, of course, brochures we have on there as well that have, information on our resources and things like that. So, really all that I'm saying in all of this is our website is rich with resources. Please make sure you go on there. You're able to get connected with support groups. You're able to get connected with education programs, information. You're able to get publications, brochures, everything is on our website. So please make sure you go on there and get the information that you need. Lastly, I do like to share that, at the Alzheimer's Association, we are a volunteer-led organization. What does that mean? We know that the work that we're doing in community is extremely important, but we don't have enough staff to be able to accomplish all of the work that we need to do. So we're always looking for volunteers. You can volunteer as an individual or as an organization. As an individual, you can become a community educator. So you are in community and you're educating your friends, your family, your neighbors, or you're educating organizations as well. You are helping us to really raise awareness of this disease. As an organization, you can absolutely start a walk team and participate in our walk season to help us fundraise for research and to really just get the word out. We're always looking for people to get connected with us. Also, our advocacy pillar is always looking for people to help us advocate, to go to Springfield and push bills that help those that are, living with the disease and their caregivers as well. So we're always looking for volunteers. If this is something of interest to you, please certainly let me know. You can call our helpline and let them know that you're interested and they'll connect you with me. But, we're always looking for volunteers. It's such a big fight that we have. Please get connected. We're really happy to have you. So, these are all of the resources that I wanted to share today. Not too much, but just enough for people to know that we're here and we're happy to help in any way possible. So I will stop sharing my screen. I know there might be some questions that I'm happy to
if people are formatting, if they have any questions, please do feel free to either unmute or type them into the chat. One of the things you said is that Alzheimer's and dementia doesn't come with an education manual, which I think is so important for us all to hear, because there are no, if you haven't navigated this, you don't know what you're doing. If you have navigated it, you don't know what to do with this. As people have said in the past, one person with a dementia diagnosis is one person with a dementia diagnosis. You can't, everybody we're all individuals. And that individuality doesn't leave once you have a dementia-related diagnosis. It doesn't leave. You're still an individual that has it, and and how it's going to look and feel for you is going to be different than it might be for somebody else. So one of the things that I'm really hearing is that your website, that Alzheimer's Association, so it's ALZASSOC.org.
I will put it in the chat.
That is where we all need to be going, and directing people to that have these related diagnoses, because this is not an easy thing to navigate. You mentioned about the various types of dementia, and how many different types of dementia are there?
I believe there are about 73 different types. And, the ones that I mentioned on the call are the most prevalent. So we know Alzheimer's, is about 80%. And then there's Lewy body, there's vascular, there's mixed dementia, and then there's frontal temporal, which has been getting a lot of airtime now because that's the one that Bruce Willis has. Yeah, but those are a little bit, in the lower percentages, between 5 and 10. Alzheimer's really is the bulk of it.
Yeah. So Olivia, you were saying to me that all dementias are not Alzheimer's. That when somebody says that they have a dementia diagnosis, and then they say, yes, my loved one has a dementia diagnosis, my loved one has Alzheimer's, and then we ask as ombudsman or as, just as a layman, well, does she have Alzheimer's or is it another type of dementia? Oh, they're the same thing. They're not the same thing, right?
No, they're not the same thing. So dementia is the umbrella term. And dementia really describes a range of symptoms, whereas Alzheimer's is more specific. So they're two different things. Dementia is the umbrella, and then under the umbrella, they are different types of dementia. Alzheimer's just happens to be one of them. You know, it's probably like heart disease. Heart disease is the umbrella, and then they are other comorbidities that are under it, but it's the umbrella. I hope I explained that correctly.
Like cancer. There's so many different types
Like
of cancer.
cancers,
Cancer
yeah.
is a classification, but there's so many different types. And just because you have cancer, you have lung cancer doesn't mean that you have skin cancer. And they can look and be extremely, extremely different. So it's the same kind of a thing. Is that how you could, so people could maybe look at that and say, oh, okay, now I got it.
Yes, 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 yes.
One of the things that kind of hit me when I was starting out with the aging community and learning things, I always thought that um, memory loss was dementia, and whether it was Alzheimer's or Lewy body, whatever, it was memory loss. But I've since learned that dementia, one of the symptoms of dementia is memory loss, but there's this whole other set of symptoms that goes along with it. It can be behavioral, it can be physical. Um, so we have to get out of the mindset that dementia is just memory loss, because there's so much more to it.
So true. And Stephen is with the state office for the ombudsman program as well. So thank you, Stephen, for interjecting that, because we don't know what we don't know. And this is such a complicated disease process. And that I hear those generalizations so often. Did you have a question? I noticed somebody put themselves on camera. Many times when somebody puts themselves on camera, it means they have a question. Jay Dozart, do you have a question? Or information you want to share? I don't know if you can see where the unmute is. It's one of those buttons down there that you gotta kind of go to the ... for me to go to where I can mute or unmute.
If you hover,
No, I didn't have a question. I didn't have a question.
Oh,
I was
okay.
just kind of
Good.
checking this stuff out.
I just know that sometimes that's what happens with people when they put themselves on camera. It's because it's their way of raising their hand.
No, sorry.
Oh, no apologies in any way, shape, or form. And so the other thing is, this is our Resident and Family Support Council. And many people also that are on this call are also they also might be in the aging network as well. So do you have any advice, any information that you would specifically share for some people that are in the aging network? They may work for the Department on Aging, they may work for an area agency on aging, they may work for a care community. Any advice that you could give to any of them on how we could do better by those with a dementia-related diagnosis?
Gosh, it's interesting that you say that. We do have a relationship with the Illinois Department of Aging at the association. And one of the things that we did all last year was to educate all of the agencies that fall under them. I guess it's the area aging on, I can never say that. The AAAs.
Area Agency on Aging, which we did talk about a couple of weeks ago. If anybody's curious what that's about, we actually had an explanation about what the Area Agency on Agings are all about and how you can get in contact with them, the services they offer. So yes. Area Agency on Aging.
So we do provide training through them if you are affiliated with any of those groups. Because we know that people are interacting with families or people that are living with the disease. So being able to know how to, manage behaviors or just to be able to communicate effectively with those that you're assisting, but I think I'll always come back to our website. It's a host of information. There's a lot on there that you can, get educated on. I'm also always happy to provide more education. As I mentioned, we have a variety of programs, so I'm happy to talk about anything that might be relevant to the group. So, you can let me know if that's something that you're interested in, but, we're here to help. We want to make sure people have everything that they need to be able to do their work. So just get in touch and we'll be able to make that happen, I guess.
Yeah, because there are programs out there. I mean, because for a while there, dementia was the flavor of the day and it was the hot button. So a lot of people were like, become a dementia trainer, a dementia specialist, dementia this, and attend the 3-hour class, and then you're certified as a dementia practitioner. I'm like, ooh, all that stuff just kind of sat raw with me, because I was like, in 3 hours, you'll never understand the disease. In a week, you'd never understand the disease. I personally feel that the only person who's an expert in a dementia-related diagnosis is the person who has dementia. They're the expert. And the next person down that line is somebody who loves that person. They're the next specialist. The rest of us are just winging it, because I don't know what it really feels and looks like. I mean, I really just have no idea, because I'm not going through it myself. And one of our resident family support council's greatest friends and supporters, Janine, she asked a really poignant question. How can we help our loved one feel better about their memory loss, besides assuring them that it's okay, I love you, and I'm here for you? What can we do besides just those, or is that enough? What is it? What does it look and feel like?
Gosh, how to reassure your family members that you love them. I think by just telling them, being there for them always, when they're having a good day, when they're having a bad day, truly being there for them and just demonstrating that you care for them. I think that if it gets difficult, of course, you can always reach out to our clinicians at our helpline. I think they'll be able to give you better guidance, because that's their expertise. But I think, we all know how we care and love for family. That should never change, regardless of what's happening with your family member right now. So just continuing to demonstrate, continuing to be patient, and really putting yourself in their world. This is, I think, another way to show kindness and love. Somebody that's going through this disease, their life has changed. They're seeing things very differently. You have to get into their reality and just be with them in their state. I think that in itself is loving and caring. So those are some of the things that I would really suggest. And honestly, this is stuff that I've heard from family members that I've interacted with is, get into their world. Get into their world and be there for them in their world. So, yeah.
And I think Alzheimer's world can be a good place, as long as we embrace it and we don't discard it. I really do feel that many times we're trying to make them live in our world, and we need to go the other way around, because it's a different world. And why do we have to do things differently? Sometimes too, for the individual, let them tell us how they want it. And many times it might look like what it's always been. If I went to the grocery store, let me continue to go to the grocery store. We could go together, and it may not be where we're going to do the big grocery cart shopping, but let's just go get the butter together, or make those experiences still be valid experiences for the individual. And let's not all of a sudden say, you've got dementia, so you've got to live in a shell. I think we need to let people go on living and experiencing. And my trade is a recreation therapist. That's what I am by trade. So I'm all about that quality of life, and really taking a look and making sure that people get to lead and tell what their lives should look like, and that should never go away, no matter what it is that where we're at in our stage of life, whether it's aging, whether it's sickness, whether it's wherever. So I think that that's really, really important. There is somebody who's also expressed to me privately that this individual works and can't be home all the time. And the mother is showing some dementia and forgetting to eat or take medication. And if the individual is really not sure what the options are with Medicaid, any of those types of things. Do you have any advice for this individual?
I do. I know going to your primary care physician sometimes can be daunting, but we are at the association working really hard, especially now in this era of treatment, to ensure that hospitals are dementia ready, so somebody that enters that particular healthcare system is able to get the help that they need. So starting with your primary care physician, they're able to do cognitive tests to really see, what is this? Because sometimes it may not be dementia or Alzheimer's, it could be, thyroid issues. So really getting to the root of why they're experiencing these memory issues is helpful, and working with your primary care physician is a really great next step. They're able to conduct cognitive assessments, and if they feel that this is kind of looking like dementia, then they're able to send you to a neurologist for further screening. So really starting with your primary care physician is the best way to go forward.
Because I don't know how many times I've heard individuals say to me, particularly as I've worked in the provider side, the long-term care side in the nursing home world, where somebody would literally, they're experiencing some memory loss and they wanted to move them to the dementia floor. And so the individual, the nurse would call and just, call the doctor and say, so-and-so is experiencing memory loss, he's falling a lot or having some behavioral, quote unquote, issues. And the physician would just say, and they would say, we suspect they have dementia. And so then they would say, okay, I'll add that diagnosis to his chart. And it'll be, dementia related diagnosis or something along those lines. And there was never any workup on it. I always encourage people to make sure that they are talking to their doctor, that then they follow up with the neurologist, that they are not just letting it be somebody saying it in passing to them, and then they take on that diagnosis, because there are things, and what you've shared with us today, there are things they could get in a trial. They can maybe take a medication. They can, be able to plan and do better for themselves if they get that formal diagnosis, which I guess I look at it like cancer. I do. If you suspected that you had cancer, you weren't feeling right, you weren't, something, you had a growth on your skin, let's even just say, and you're like, it doesn't look right. You're not just going to go to, your friend and say, what do you think that is? And they're gonna be like, oh, cancer. Oh, I have cancer now. You're going to go and follow up and get the treatment. And then your primary care is going to send you to, to the next phase of where you need to go to get that explored. And I think that we do a disservice to people because there is this stigma around, because we think it's people with dementia, we think that they're losing their ability to be smart all of a sudden. And it has nothing to do with smart or not smart. It purely just has to do with there's a disease going on in their brain, and it's affecting their world. And we need to figure out how we could do it better. So those are just, I can get on my pedestal about this stuff, because I want to make sure that people are doing it right. And I think that was the purpose of today's call, making sure that we're doing it right and knowing that we have the resources to be able to do it right.
Yeah.
So Olivia, we really do appreciate you being here today. We're approaching the end of our hour. We actually had over 100 people. People were emailing me saying, I can't get in, you're at your 100 limit. So I will be making sure that that we get this video recording right up onto our YouTube channel as soon as it processes through Zoom, so I can get it up there for all these people. I had people reaching out to me before today saying they wanted to be a part of it and they couldn't make the call. So we were really excited that you could be here. We'll probably be inviting you back at some point, Olivia, so be prepared.
Please do, because you know what, I had some technical issues and I feel so bad. I wish we could redo the recording so it's a little bit smoother with the slides were advancing, but you'll let me know.
Don't worry, because our meetings always, this is our natural, this is what we are.
Okay.
People that are watching our recordings know that these are our real meetings, and they don't see, they just look real and genuine, and it's about empowerment. So with that, I'm just going to stop recording, but we will be staying on. So I just want to stop recording right now.